welcome you watching Global Lens on News9 Live with me, Imran Khan. As always, we have a packed show for you, and our big focus continues to be on the Pakistan elections. The Pakistan elections have left the country in a greater political mess than the one it was in before the polls. The people of Pakistan are still not sure which party will form the next government or who their next Prime Minister will be 4 days after polling was held. While talks for a potential alliance are currently underway between Naas Sharif's PMLN and Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's PPP, the one party that has taken everyone by surprise is jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan's PTI. Despite Imran Khan's incarceration, the party being deprived of its election symbol, its campaign rallies being banned, its workers and leaders being harassed and locked up and effectively forced underground, the independent candidates backed by the PTI have stunned observers by winning 101 National Assembly seats, the most by any party. However, it is far short of the 169-seat simple majority required to form a government. What is creditable, however, is the fact that the PTI beat all odds. Despite the all-powerful army launching a systematic crackdown on it and fully backing Naas Sharif as the prime ministerial candidate, Imran Khan's PTI has had an incredibly strong showing, leaving the military with a bloody nose. Many see the election results as a massive humiliation for the Pakistan army, which had done everything in its power to keep its blue-eyed boy turned Betanwar, Imran Khan, and his party out of power. Remember, this election was held amidst allegations of widespread rigging and fraud. Even by Pakistan's dismal track record, this was the least credible election in its history. Yet many argue the army has egg on its face, as a large section of the electorate clearly voted in defiance of the powerful institution's game plan and virtual diktat. The army is known to have exercised a strong influence over Pakistan's politics in the country's entire 76-year history. So what happens next? The PMLN of former Prime Minister Naas Sharif has ended up with 75 seats in the National Assembly. Naas Sharif is seen to have the backing of the country's powerful military and was actually expected to coast to victory 5 years after he left Pakistan in disgrace. The PPP, led by political blue blood Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, came in third with 54 seats. The constitution dictates that political parties must form a government by the 29th of February or 3 weeks after election day. The National Assembly has a total of 336 seats, of which 266 are decided by direct voting and 70 are reserved, 60 for women and 10 for non-Muslims. And these are allocated according to the strength of each party in the Assembly. While both the PTI and the PMLN have declared victory, a coalition government appears inevitable. As wrangling continues, independent candidates who did not win have flooded courts with vote-rigging allegations. At the moment, it looks like Naas Sharif's PMLN could join forces with Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's PPP and form the government with the support of smaller parties. Naas Sharif could become Prime Minister for a record fourth term, and there is speculation that Bilawal Bhutto Zardari could be in the running to be the next president of Pakistan. The two parties formed an alliance to oust Imran Khan from power in 2022 and ruled until last August. The PMLN is courting the social liberal MQM, which has won 17 seats. It's also looking to entice independent candidates to its side. And it looks like the PTI-backed candidates who were forced to run as independents would prefer to occupy opposition benches instead of forming a coalition. Analysts say even those who did not vote for Imran Khan may feel a sense of injustice over how the army has treated him and his party over the last 2 years, and that by picking independents, voters have sent out a clear message to the army: let civilian democracy prevail.
इंशाअल्लाह ताला पाकिस्तान तहरीक इंसाफ वफाक में हुकूमत बनने जाएगी। इंशाअल्लाह हम हुकूमत बनाएंगे इंशाअल्लाह। इसके साथ ही पाकिस्तान तहरीक इंसाफ KPK में हुकूमत बनाएगी। इस वक्त मेरी सबसे दरख्वास्त है, अवामी मैंडेट को, इस अवाम की आवाज़ को रिस्पेक्ट करे, इसको हर सूरत एक्सेप्ट करे, अपने कंडक्ट का इजहार करते हुए प्रोटेस्ट करे, लेकिन ये हर सूरत पीसफुल हो। कि कोई सीरत आपके पास कोई डंडा नहीं होना चाहिए, आपके पास पाकिस्तान के झंडे होने चाहिए और आपके पास आरओस के सामने पीसफुल गो करके मुतालबा करना चाहिए, मुतालिका आरओ से, कि हमारे रिजल्ट को बिला ताखीर जारी किए जाए।
All right, Gohar Ali Khan there, the chairman of PTI, saying that every institution in Pakistan must respect the mandate of the people. Now, of course, he's referring to the win of those 101 candidates, most of whom are backed by Imran Khan and the PTI. But are they really in a position to form the government? At the moment, it doesn't look that way. Let's discuss this further to understand what could happen next in Pakistan. Joining me on Global Lens tonight is Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar, former Indian diplomat, Indrani Bakshi, foreign policy commentator and CEO at Ananta Aspen Center, Chirayu Thakkar, doctoral candidate of international relations at the National University of Singapore, joining us live from Singapore. And later on the show, we're hoping to be joined by Zulkarnain Tahir, senior political correspondent with the Dawn newspaper in Pakistan. A warm welcome to all my guests. Indrani Bakshi, if I could start with you. Welcome back to Global Lens. When you were last on the show, we talked about how Imran Khan had left everyone stunned in and outside of Pakistan. And perhaps this is really a massive blow to the Pakistan army. Many are calling it a humiliation. Some are saying the Pakistan army has been left with a bloody nose, because as we know, this is the most powerful institution in that country. It had made up its mind before the election that Naas Sharif was the chosen one, the man who the army had handpicked to be the next prime minister. And while Naas Sharif may still go on to become the next prime minister of Pakistan, nobody had expected that Imran Khan's party could end up winning 101 seats. This when the man has been in jail, the party workers and leaders were locked up, harassed in multiple ways, their campaign rallies banned, they were robbed of their iconic election symbol, the cricket bat. Most of them were forced underground. And now you have a situation where Imran Khan has dealt a body blow to the army. Before we talk about what could happen next, how important is this message that the people of Pakistan seem to have sent out to the all-powerful army, in your assessment?
Well, certainly, however flawed the exercise may or have been, the fact is that the Pakistan people have spoken. They have exercised their vote and they have exercised their democratic right. As we spoke about the other day, it was an extremely unusual and extraordinary result that we were seeing unfolding in front of us. But whether this is it is certainly a blow to the army, but the army cannot force people to vote in a certain way. They can create conditions for people to vote in a certain way, but they can't force them. And the fact that 101 seats have gone to independents who are backed by Imran Khan or owe allegiance to Imran Khan shows where the popular sentiment lies. And I think that's the best way to look at it.
All right. Ambassador Sajanhar, if I could come to you. Of course, on Friday, we saw both Naas Sharif and Imran Khan claiming victory. However, many questioned Naas Sharif's claim, given that he hasn't even achieved a majority. We know he is in talks with Bilawal Bhutto's party. We'll come to that later. But what is the bigger message that the people of Pakistan has sent out in this election, given that even by Pakistan's dismal track record, this was the least credible election in its history? It was held amidst allegations of widespread rigging and fraud. And it is well known that this time, the man enjoying the backing of the army is Naas Sharif, who was expected to coast to victory, and that has not happened. So, could you unmute yourself? Okay, go ahead.
So, it was expected that Naas Sharif would be able to win a majority and form a government easily without much problem. But I think the manner in which the Pakistan army has been snubbed, this was not foreseen at all. Because I don't think any instances of such a nature have taken place in the past. In Pakistan, it is said that rather than elections, the selections take place. And last time, the selection was that of Imran Khan. He did not have much of a support base for himself. And it was through the machinations, through legal machinations, etc., that Nawaz Sharif was was moved to one side and then sent out of the country to make things simple for Imran Khan. So that was not an election, but a selection. And here also, this would be another selection which was expected to go through quite smoothly. But as you said very correctly, this is, and everyone was saying that out of these 60 plus elections that are going to take place in the world, many of the Pakistan experts had mentioned that this was the most predictable, one of the most predictable elections to take place in 2024. But I think it has been proven beyond doubt, as someone said, that Imran Khan has scored a century without holding a bat in his hand. His symbol has been taken away. He doesn't have a bat. But then 101 independents have won. I don't know how many of them are in favor of Imran Khan, but most of them definitely are. So a very significant number. But the question that you posed, why has Nawaz Sharif been able to claim victory? Because he thinks, his is the largest party, 74, 75 seats in the National Assembly that have been won. And the other one is PPP. So that gives him the right to claim victory. But as I understand, as the Pakistan laws go, these independents, once the results are announced, these independents are required to join one or the other party. They cannot really remain as independents. I think we need to have a look at that, which would mean that there would be a lot of horse trading also that would go on in the coming days, because both the parties will try to take some of these MNAs, members of the National Assembly, to their side. But we'll have to see as to how this plays out, because the fact that these candidates have contested and won under such difficult circumstances, such adverse conditions, means that they are quite committed to what they are fighting for, and their commitment for in support of Imran Khan also. So we'll really have to wait and see. I think it is too early to say how things are going to pan out. But one thing is certain, as you yourself, Neha, have also pointed out, that it is a big humiliation for the Pakistan army, and something like this has not been seen by the Pakistan army since the independence in 1947.
Quite unprecedented for the Pakistan army, which is not used to being snubbed, which is not used to people not listening to its diktat. And you're quite right, sir, the independents cannot form a government on their own, which is why most people believe that it is still going to be a Nawaz Sharif-led government. Chirayu Thakkar, before we talk about government formation, I really want to look at the Imran Khan phenomenon. Even the worst of Imran Khan's critics, I think, are today grudgingly admiring him for this phenomenal feat. Like I said, with the blessings of the Pakistan army, which calls the shots and pulls the strings from behind the scenes in Pakistani politics, Nawaz Sharif was expected to romp home. And yet, Imran Khan, the blue-eyed boy of the army turned its bête noir, seems to have given the army a bloody nose from behind bars. What do you make of it?
Neha, good evening and thank you for having me. As you rightly pointed out, this is unprecedented and extremely unusual in the history of Pakistani politics. And if I have to give one line verdict on this election, nobody would have won, nobody has won actually a clear majority. But if there is a loser, it is definitely the Pakistan army. That is a fact. Now, I would like to take you a further deeper into the history, not very far, but recently, the last 5 years. If you look at the last 5 years of Pakistan's history, it can be divided into two periods. The post vote of no confidence, after which Sabah Sharif government was ushered in, and previously the Imran Khan government. Now, some of the researchers at York University have recently looked at this 5 years by elections. And what the data has found, Neha, is that even when Imran Khan was in the driving seat and Nawaz Sharif was in the opposition while he was sitting in London and his daughter and his brother were leading the party on ground, whenever they have fielded a candidate, that candidate have won decisively in the by-election. Specifically because in the first 3 years of the last 5 year cycle, people understood that Imran Khan was the selected one, chosen one. Even the 2018 election, there was a widespread impression that it's a rigged one. There were videos of army people, giving 1,000 rupee notes to people who have voted, and those of things have surfaced post-election. So even when Imran Khan came, every session in the parliament, his opponents used to tag him selected. ये हमारे सिलेक्टेड प्राइम मिनिस्टर आज आए हुए हैं. So what I'm trying to suggest is that even when Imran Khan was in the driving seat, there was this untapped angst against army, and this angst has more to do with people's economic goals. So people thought that it is this constant meddling into civilian affairs, into governance affairs, into policy affairs, into economic affairs by the army has created some sort of misery for their own self. And that's the reason they wanted to vote against anyone and everyone who was aligning himself or herself with the army. Now, what has Imran Khan done in the last couple of years? He has taken the risk of speaking against the establishment, giving voice, coherent narrative against the views of the people, and said that, look, the primary reason, I may have done a couple of mistakes, a few mistakes in my own government, but the primary reason your life today remains miserable on ground, economically or otherwise, it's primarily because of this army. And what you are seeing right now is this unusual phenomenon. Army, which was considered the infallible institution, is right now under assault and having its lowest ever credibility since the dawn of the nation.
Okay, Imrani, let me ask you two questions here. Number one, what in your assessment explains the Imran Khan phenomenon and his immense popularity despite the fact that he's behind bars, he couldn't even contest this election? As Chirayu says, do you believe it was the people of Pakistan actually channeling their angst against the army over its constant meddling in Pakistani affairs? That's one. And two, while we know that independents on their own cannot form a government, and there are most who believe that, these independents would actually prefer to occupy the opposition benches, do you believe there's still an outside chance that they could either merge with a smaller party or consolidate themselves into a bloc and stake claim to form the government? Because that magic number of 169 is certainly not within reach at the moment.
Right. As Chirayu pointed out, the Pakistan people's angst against the army is not new. It was there even when Imran Khan came in the last time. And so it's not really Imran Khan's popularity that we should be talking about. It is also the fact that, strange things have happened in Pakistani politics. One is very important, which is that Imran, for whatever faults of his, does command support on the ground. And he has a better chance of getting support as an agitational opposition leader than he has been when he was in power. And that has been seen over the last few years. Second, their independents, as you rightly said, cannot form a government for no other reason that they don't have the reserved seats yet. They need to be a party to be able to get reserved, to be able to submit the reserved seats. for the minorities and for the women, and they don't have that. So yeah, I don't think they can form a government just yet.
And you don't believe that they would even want to stake claim at this position? Would they rather occupy the high moral ground and say that, well, we may have won the maximum number of seats, but we're going to sit in the opposition and act as a strong and robust opposition? Is that how you see things panning out? Even though, of course, Gauhar Ali Khan has been saying that the institutions in Pakistan must accept the mandate of the people.
Inshallah Taala, Pakistan Tehreek Insaf.
Indrani, that question is for you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't think they can actually form a government at this point, no matter what they do, because I think there will be a lot of background deals happening in the next few days to make sure that Nawaz's coalition, which is with Bilawal Bhutto, is more stable, shall we say. Right now, it's not stable.
Okay, Ambassador Sajanhar, let me ask you this question. Looking ahead at what could happen next, there is widespread speculation that, as has happened in the past, the PMLN will join hands with the PPP, take the support of smaller parties, because their combined strength still falls 6 short of the majority mark, and they will go ahead and form the government. Naas Sharif will become Prime Minister for a record 4th time. There is still a lot of speculation about what's in store for Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Last time round, he was Foreign Minister in Shehbaz Sharif's government. This time, there are some who are saying, who knows, he may even end up as president. Another formula that may be under discussion, this is all speculation, is that they may even be talking about rotational prime ministership. What are your thoughts on how this may pan out in the days ahead? Because at the moment, there is a lot of political uncertainty, and the people of Pakistan really don't know what's in store for them.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's very, very uncertain. I think as one would say figuratively, the penny is up in the air. Which side it lands, whether it is heads or it is tails or it stands up straight on its side. None of that is clear so far. But the most likely scenario going forward, Neha, appears to be that Nawaz Sharif would be at the helm of affairs with the support of Bilawal Bhutto of PPP. And then they will also try to, as I said earlier, try to wean away some of the independence. Of course, as far as the MQM is concerned, that is also something that they will try to align with themselves. And, some bit of horse trading there. And I think that is what appears to be the most likely scenario. But none of the scenarios, that you might think about, whether it is Nawaz Sharif coming to take up the reins of power, or it is Bilawal Bhutto, or somehow the Imran Khan supporters coalescing into a party and trying to form a government. I don't think any of these formulae, or, for that matter, the last option, which appears to be very, very, not very acceptable, possible at this time, is that the army takes over direct control, because army has been very happy in pulling strings from behind, having all the power, the authority, but none of the responsibility. And I think that is what they would like to continue to do. So, whatever might be the future configuration of the government in Pakistan, I don't think any of these solutions would be adequate, would be effective to take care of the myriad challenges that Pakistan is facing, whether it is economic, it's political, it's constitutional, it's social, all these challenges that have been happening here. And also security on its borders, whether it is with Iran, whether it is with Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, it is with Taliban itself, it's on the Indian border, it's with China. So, there are all these problems. I don't think any of these solutions will really be able to get a good, decent response to any of these issues.
Quite right. Huge challenges, no solutions in sight. That really is the state of Pakistan today. I need to take a quick break here on Global Lens, but we'll continue this discussion on the other side. Stay with us.
मेक इन इंडिया जैसे है ना, वैसे ही एक मूवमेंट चलना चाहिए, वेड इन इंडिया.
Nowadays, you're seeing there is a color palette, a theme, and even a whole designer concept to the wedding.
I think the entire headache which the relatives used to take is now gone to the wedding planner.
And India, in terms of diversity, gives you all the options to do your residential weddings within India itself.
The big fat Indian wedding will end up adding to the growth of India's economy.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface but not the living people?
We are trying a lot of experiments, innovations and ideas.
We came out with a new format in audio, which is audio series.
Listening for content-oriented company in India, which is a very unique proposition.
When we look at audio in general, we had music, which is like extremely old format, and then we had podcasts.
A natural extension for Pocket FM is to move from Hindi to regional content. I think I'd love to see their FY24 numbers, which they claim will be close to 1,000 crores. I think there are talks of them to raise another $80 to $100 million of funding.
This and more. Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
It's probably the best kept secret in India.
Family-owned business, which has been extremely clinical in their approach. They have not hesitated ever to kill their darlings.
Typical to a South Indian business empire, I think they've shunned the limelight, almost deliberately.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
Why is the state not looking at putting an embargo on that?
As a Telangana person, I will not accept.
How do ordinary folks deal with this?
In our previous episode, we took you around the city where we witnessed the chaos of Bengaluru's roads, the frustration of commuters, and the everyday battle of a Bengalurian.
We are traveling again from KR Market to Whitefield. But this time we are not doing it in a car, but we are doing it in Bangalore's lifeline, the metro.
Welcome back. You're watching Global Lens on News9 Live with me, Neha Khanna. We're discussing the Pakistan elections. Chirayu, let me come back to you. Even though Naas Sharif may not really have won the mandate of the people, given how the numbers stack up in the National Assembly, given the overall scenario with him enjoying the backing of the army and being in talks with the PPP for an alliance, with the, Naas Sharif's party having won 74 seats, or 75 rather, and the PPP having 54 in its kitty, and the PMQ with its 17 seats perhaps inclined to support this combine, and the possibility that some of the independents could be wooed by Naas Sharif. Do you believe that at the end of the day, Naas Sharif will be home and be able to form the next government, however unstable that government is?
I think, Neha, that decision was already made by the army, and everybody had sensed that they wanted to bring back Naas Sharif. And even before he landed in Lahore, I think that decision was made and conveyed, and somehow backroom boys would have conducted that deal with the army. There are two major questions that remains. One, I think Naas Sharif knows that it will be a weak government. It has to share power with his arch rival, the PPP. But what Imran Khan was planning to do was, he was planning to install a pliable army chief after General Bajwa had gone, and his original plan was to completely wipe off these political parties. Their political existence was at stake. That was, I think, at least the conspiracy that was being floated by PMLN and PPP, and that was making them extremely anxious that under no circumstances they would let their political existence be questioned or challenged by Imran Khan. This new election at least gives them a lease of life, and they will remain in the fray. Now, what will happen to Imran Khan? Maybe there is a possibility that the way Naas Sharif was brought back, Imran Khan would be brought back someday, and it can become a triangular or a quadrilateral polity, and the elections, after election, the polity remains, always throws up a hung assembly, which gives army the final role of the arbiter that suits the army. But what is most important is that, will this coalition work in terms of addressing some of the major challenges, particularly the economic challenges? So the political stability may be ushered in through some sort of a backdoor deal, but will it be able to usher in the hard reforms? That remains to be seen, and I think that is a bigger gamble that Naas Sharif has taken. And he said that no matter how much I become unpopular with the people, I will usher in the reforms, and that would be perhaps my legacy in the last leg.
Sajjanar, let me come to you. Now, even if the people of Pakistan feel that Naas Sharif is being foisted on them by the Pakistan army, I guess they don't really have much of a choice. Chances are we are going to see Naas Sharif take the oath of office for a record 4th term as Prime Minister of Pakistan. He is going to, in all likelihood, lead a coalition government. But a lot of people believe that this government is not going to last very long, and it will do absolutely nothing to bring in the kind of political stability that Pakistan desperately needed at this point in time, not to mention the massive economic challenges that the country faces at this point in time. It's an unprecedented economic crisis, soaring inflation that people are grappling with. Next month, they will need to negotiate a new IMF bailout package. The current one is going to expire. And then, of course, there is the threat of terrorism with an ever deteriorating security situation. A government headed by Naas Sharif under the current circumstances is very unlikely to have the ability to extricate Pakistan from the mess that it is in right now.
Yeah, you're very right, Neha, but there are no other choices. This is literally a Hobson's choice, for as far as Pakistan is concerned. I think we also have to be mindful of the fact that I don't think one can see that Imran Khan is really a solution to all the ailments and ills that Pakistan is dealing with, Pakistan is confronting, because his whole tenure from 2018 till 2023 was anything but 22 was anything but impressive, but anything but inspiring, because whether it is on the economic front, or it is on the terrorism front, or foreign policy front, or whichever way you take, there was also a constitutional crisis. On none of those issues was Imran Khan able to, conduct himself well and be impressive, reach out. I think what has happened right now is that more than a vote in favor of Pakistan, it has been a vote against
the army.
The army, yeah.
Yes.
So I think that is how it has worked in this particular case. And I think if Imran Khan were to, or his party were to come to power, the situation would be even more difficult. The situation would be even
the
more
man is behind bars.
unstable.
Exactly. The man is behind
Yeah.
bars. Can you really expect even these independents, even if they organize themselves into a bloc, to provide stable governance? Ambassador, I'll come back to you in a moment, because now I need to go across to Zulkarnain Tahir, senior political correspondent with the Dawn newspaper in Pakistan, joining us live from Lahore. We were having trouble with his line earlier. Mr. Tahir, thank you so much for joining me on Global Lens tonight. I want to ask you first the larger question. The entire world has watched this election with a lot of attention and fascination. Imran Khan has left the people stunned. They believe that this is a mandate against the army of the country. Many believe that Imran Khan has given the army a bloody nose, and it is also believed that Imran Khan and the PTI are going to be robbed of their mandate, because it still looks like Naas Sharif is going to head a coalition government. How do you see what's happening in your country over the last few days? How do the people of Pakistan view this election and its outcome?
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, you truly analyzed the whole situation here, and here you see the Sharifs are in shock. And the public is in a jubilation mood, because no political pundit here was expecting what happened on February 8th. It was unprecedented, because you see the cricketer turned politician who is behind the bar. Nobody was expecting that after snatching his electoral symbol bat, the people would people would turn out in such a huge number and voting on different symbols. And yeah, it was amazing, and they have given the verdict against this rotten system, and of course those operating it since long. But the point is this: for Nawaz Sharif to run the upcoming coalition government, he or his brother, both are the favorites at the moment. And although I spoke to their party man, and they're saying there's a decision is to be announced shortly, and both in the race, Nawaz Sharif is thinking whether he should run the government, or his brother, along with the Pakistan People's Party. But how the basic question would arise: the legitimacy of the next government, a government which would be formed on a stolen mandate. It appears so, because no matter PML Noon defending itself that is our own mandate, but nobody here is ready to believe this. Already about 100 petition has been filed in different courts against the winning candidates of the National Assembly as well as of the Provincial Assembly. So I think it's a very, very bumpy road for the Sharif brothers, especially if they're still sticking to this idea of going to run the coalition government. And vis-a-vis for Imran Khan and his party is a big task. How to stay calm, play their card wisely. They have now almost certain to form the government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, where it has 2/3 majority. It is going to finalize its chief minister. One of his lawyers met Imran Khan in Adiala jail today and sought his words about the new chief minister's name. And in the center, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has announced that it will sit on the opposition benches, and that would be very important how it does the politics on in the parliament, and not like that of politics of agitation on roads. You see, already it has paid dearly that of May 9 events in which you see, yeah, a lot of violence, riots took place, military installations were burned, and currently 10 to 12,000 PTI workers and leaders are behind the bars. And yeah, in coming days, we would see the next government what decision it takes about their release, because not all of them are yet tried under you see different terrorism charges.
Yes. Well, I would say that even the fiercest of Imran Khan's critics are today grudgingly admiring the man. And they're really stunned by this Imran Khan phenomenon. The fact that he could pull this off from behind bars and inflict this unprecedented humiliation on the Pakistan Army, the most powerful institution in that country, which has always pulled the strings from behind the scenes in the entire history of the country. Would you say today that with the people of the country channeling their anger, their angst towards the army, when it was well known that the army had handpicked Naas Sharif for the top job, have the people of Pakistan proven that the army is no longer a holy cow that it used to be?
Yes, you see, the people have given the vote in anger, in hatred, and you see, it was a fine movement. I think what the establishment lost, because it's not budging from its stance of like imposing the people of their choice on this country. You see, once the mandate started coming in the favor of Imran Khan, that final line was there that perhaps the establishment would reconcile with Imran Khan, go and sit with him at the Adiala jail and do some reconciliation exercise, and afterward accepting the mandate of Imran Khan. But that's unlikely to be seen. Otherwise, you see, already the people have given their mandate against the system, against them, and if they stick to their old system, not accepting the people's mandate, the hatred would further rise, you see, against the system and them. And the new government would be fragile, would be weak, and you never know, whenever the next election take place, maybe in 2 years' time and maybe sooner, and the parties who are being patronized by the establishment may be completely wiped out from the face of Pakistan's political scene. So yes, the people's anger will further be deepened if they don't pay attention to what they have spoken on February 8 very loudly and clearly.
Yes. Well, you've used some very strong words, rotten system and stolen mandate, and I think most people would agree with you. Now, you believe that, the PTI-backed independents would want to occupy the opposition benches. Therefore, let me ask you two questions. Number one, is it now a given that Naas Sharif will head, or at least one of the Sharif brothers will head, the next government of Pakistan? It will be a coalition between the PMLN and the PPP and possibly the PMQ with its 17 seats. Of course, most people believe this government is not going to last beyond a year or two and will be unable to deal with any of the multiple challenges that Pakistan is currently confronting. And number two, what does the road ahead for Imran Khan look like? Because he may have given the army a bloody nose, he may have proven his popularity through this vote, but he's still behind bars.
Yes, you see, the three cases in which he was sentenced for 10 years, 14 years and 7 years, in a span of just 2 to 3 days ahead of February 8 elections, that really went down really not well with the PML Noon or the parties. He got the sympathy vote and so on and so forth. Imran Khan emerged more stronger sitting in jail. Today, he is more stronger than February 8. And This is a reality. Nobody can deny it, and it is being predicted here in days to come. You see, there would be more rise of him and his party. So I think so, or if sanity prevails, the elements in the establishment would realize this. Otherwise, more you gonna suppress Imran Khan, more, if in more cases like May 9 riots and violence, he is convicted, I think more sympathy he would get it. But since his party is now with huge number of seats in the National Assembly, the Parliament, and in Punjab and in KP, it is forming the government. I think so that what atrocities committed to PTI has been committed for the last 2 years. I think in that we see some break, and establishment may give a second thought to twist things, and yeah.
Very interesting.
You see,
I was going to ask you that question, Mr. Tahir. I'm glad you've come to that. Many are now wondering, of course you're right, Imran Khan has emerged much stronger now. But do you see him being released from jail anytime soon? Do you believe the army may have a change of heart given what's happened in this election, and some sort of a deal could be struck?
You see, it's not only the question of the establishment. It is also the Naas Sharif. Naas Sharif is also quite vindictive. Is vindictive against Imran Khan. He would not like to see him coming out of the jail. When Imran was sentenced in 3 cases for 20 plus years, you see, by that time there was word here in the country that just sentence him before February 8, even on hollow and shallow grounds. After February 8, even the Superior Court acquit him, never mind. And the one thing is there, they say the May 9 case under the Army's Secret and Official Act, in which he is going to be tried sooner. So they think, yeah, we have to retain him there. So in coming days, the possibility of Imran Khan coming out looks slim, because since the establishment does not decide to accept his mandate, or want him, because if he comes out, it means he would come to power, and coming to power without shaking hand with the establishment is next to impossible thing. So once Nawaz or Shahbaz be installed as the Prime Minister, they will make sure, the first and foremost thing, that Imran remains in jail, because they cannot afford him out of the jail, because once he's out of the jail, they would be going home very soon. That is the main thing. That is the bottom line, I think.
That is the bottom line. It's really sad to see this kind of politics of vendetta playing out, though let's not forget Imran Khan and Naas Sharif have switched places since the last election in 2018. Last time it was Naas Sharif who was in jail, and Imran Khan was the blue-eyed boy of the army, and now the shoe is on the other foot. Having said that, there is still a lot of sympathy for Imran Khan. What happens to him, though, in the days ahead still remains a million-dollar question. On that note, Zulkarnain, Tahir, Chirayu, Thakkar and Rani Bagchin Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar, thank you so much for joining me on Global Lens tonight. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you. All right, now moving on to the other big story of the day, the big win for India vis-a-vis Qatar. In a major diplomatic win for India, the 8 former Indian Navy personnel who were in jail in Qatar on charges of spying have been set free by a court in Qatar, and 7 of them returned home this morning. Interestingly, they say they had no clue of their imminent release. Reports say the veterans were asked by the jailers last night to pack their things and wait at about 9 a.m. local time on Sunday. They were then whisked away to the Indian embassy and subsequently taken to the airport. They boarded an Indigo flight that landed in Delhi at 2 a.m. The 7 veterans are among 8 Indians who had been sentenced to death by a Qatar court in October last year, as we said, on allegations of spying. The capital punishment was commuted in December following India's diplomatic intervention. The lone veteran, yet to return to India, is working through some paperwork and is expected to return soon. All 8 men had been arrested in 2022 in Qatar and were in jail since then. While reports said they were arrested on charges of spying, neither New Delhi nor Doha has publicly remarked on the allegations against them. Before their arrest, the veterans were employed by a private firm, Dara Global. They were involved in training the Qatar Navy. The External Affairs Ministry's statement talking about their release said, India welcomes the release of 8 Indian nationals working for the Dara Global company who were detained in Qatar. 7 out of the 8 of them have returned to India. We appreciate the decision by the Emir of the state of Qatar to enable the release and homecoming of these nationals. Notably, the veteran's death sentence was commuted in December shortly after Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani on the sidelines of the COP28 summit in Dubai. And it was also announced by the government today that after his visit to the UAE, the Prime Minister will also visit Qatar this week.
We are grateful for their return. We are gratified on their return. We deeply appreciate the decision of the Qataris government and the Emir to release them. We are happy to have 7 of those Indian nationals back. 8th Indian national has also been released, and we continue to work with the Qatar government to see how quickly his return to India would be possible. As we have said already in our statement in the morning, and people have articulated also, Honorable Prime Minister has himself personally constantly supervised all the developments in this case and has never shied away from any initiatives that would ensure the return of Indian nationals back to home. We can talk of different frames and terminology, like Sridhar you mentioned, whether it's a release or a pardon, etc. But I think we should see the facts for what they are. 7 of the 8 Indian nationals of Al Dhara case are back in India, back to their homes. As I said, we are extremely gratified about it and appreciate deeply the gesture of the Emir of Qatar for the release, and continue to work on the return of the 8th Indian national.
Without the intervention of Prime Minister Modi, it wouldn't be. आज हम आपके सामने खड़े नहीं हो रहे होते अगर intervention नहीं होता at that level, highest level, and especially Government of India, उनके अथक प्रयास से कि वो consistently लगे रहे, and we are there in front of you.
A huge diplomatic win there for India and a huge relief for those 8 Navy personnel and their families. And our next story now is on the latest controversy courted by Donald Trump. Another day, another Trump shocker, this time with regard to NATO. The former US president, while addressing a rally in South Carolina, recalled that the leader of a big country had presented a hypothetical situation to him while he was the president. He asked Trump what would happen if his country was not meeting its financial obligations within NATO and it came under attack from Russia. The leader asked Trump whether the US would come to his country's aid in that scenario. Trump says he rebuked the leader, saying, "You didn't pay, you're delinquent. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them," that's Russia, "to do whatever they want. You got to pay." Basically, Trump said he had told US allies that he would encourage Russia to attack any NATO member that failed to meet the alliance's financial target of 2% of their GDP.
Top Western officials criticized former President Donald Trump on Sunday after he suggested the U.S. might not protect NATO allies from a potential Russian invasion if those countries hadn't spent enough on defense. Trump's comments came during a weekend rally in South Carolina in which he appeared to recount a meeting with NATO leaders. The former president and likely 2024 Republican nominee claimed that the president of a, quote, big country, whom he did not name, once asked him about potential U.S. protection from Russia if that nation fell short on its defense spending. Trump said he told the NATO leader that the U.S. in that case would offer no protection, and went as far as to say he would even encourage Russia to, quote, do whatever the hell they want. NATO's 31 members have agreed on a target of defense spending that is at least 2% of each country's gross domestic product. Estimates have shown that only 11 member nations are spending that much. In a written statement on Sunday, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg responded to Trump's comments by saying, quote, any suggestion that allies will not defend each other undermines all of our security, including that of the U.S., and puts American and European soldiers at increased risk. Poland's defense minister also weighed in, posting on social media, quote, NATO's motto, one for all for one, is a concrete commitment, adding that, quote, no election campaign is an excuse for playing with the security of the alliance. EU Internal Market Commissioner Thierry Breton, in a televised interview in France, said Trump may have, quote, issues with his memory. Breton recalling that Trump actually had his conversation with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and not a male president of a NATO country, as Trump had relayed. Meanwhile, the White House had its own response, with spokesperson Andrew Bates calling Trump's comments, quote, appalling and unhinged.
There's a new video around what deepfake can do.
We had seen a trailer of this a few days back.